Am I in? You're I'm so confused. I see me. I don't see me. I don't see anything. I'm watching the ads. Calm down. So, can they see and hear us, or we just listen to music? Oh, I have the volume. Oh, such an idiot. Hold on. So, I am so confused. Oh, I can hear typing.
If you think that strategy's smart, I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. You knocked on my window and slept on my pillow, then said you had found your place. Not sure if I want this. You don't think that I notice. This isn't like giving you space. I don't wanna play the quiet type when I'm near you, pretending that I don't know who you are every time I see you. Tell me, is this part of an act, just to keep your image intact? If you think that strategy's smart, I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. Different my beating heart. Talk to me, just talk to me. Talk to me, 'cause I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Tuesday Night Studio Sessions. My name is Shawn, and I'll be your host. Tonight, we're going to have just a super laid-back show. First of all, can you hear me? And can you see me? Because those are the most important things about a video. Because apparently, I messed up the countdown, and you couldn't hear the music, but you could hear my guests. So, there's that. But we've got just a laid-back show tonight. I've had a crazy work week, and I've been chatting back and forth with Nacho this week about some of his 3D printed designs for masks going back into the workforce of dealing with this COVID-19 crap. He's always been an innovator, and he's always got ideas in his head, and so I've been trying to talk back and forth with some of the designs he's come up with. But all that to say, I started to 3D print something for him today. My 3D printer died, and I thought we'd just hang out, and I'd just leave it plugged up in the background, not doing a thing, just looking pretty. So let's bring Nacho on, and let's unmute him. What's up, Nacho?
Speaking of looking pretty.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Shawn Eyed Studios. It's been a while.
Thank you. It has been. I've been keeping to myself. I started a new job, and I just kind of was like tired coming home and falling asleep and not making it anywhere or doing anything. Hi, Bob. But here I am, and I'm sorry about your printer. What's it doing?
Okay, I had all kinds of problems today. So the first problem was, so there's a large screw in the bottom of it, and that goes right up the middle, and it lifts the platform up and down.
Yes.
And so the first problem, it was like, and then it would start lifting up, and I think it was kind of stripped at the very beginning. So I started, but I don't think it's stripped now. I think I just need to add some grease to it. But it would level up if I gave it kind of a help. It's almost like it was missing torque at the beginning, but once I got it to move, it worked fine. Gotcha. Then the filament, it wouldn't print anything. It would move around, but it wouldn't print anything. And then I realized there was a crack in the filament, so I pulled all the dead filament out, fixed that part, and then I don't know. I just don't know what's wrong with it. Now everything works fine except for the filament won't come out. What's up, Nikki?
It's Nikki. She's being a little pain in the butt because I came home from work and went and laid down and set an alarm. And when I woke up, I had no idea where I was. Like, why is your alarm going off? I was like, I get tired, and I'm not working like super hard, but boy. It's after being home for months, I'm exhausted, and I have to drive to work 70 miles each way. I'm like, ugh.
That's crazy.
It tires me out more than the job does, and then I have to come home and keep her happy. What's up? You give me the stink eye. She's looking at me like, why do I have to be so close to your face? Go ahead, Nikki, run away. Yeah, so I have no experience with 3D printers, so I don't know anything about yours. I know a little bit about the Ender 3 because that's what I wanted. Well, I want to buy an Ender 3. I don't know which one, but I got to save my pennies.
Yeah.
But I'm getting closer. It's more about getting permission from the boss. I'm whispering.
Yeah.
I'm whispering.
I hear that.
You don't want her. She'll
that's
come in
kinda
here
why-
and laughing at me.
That's kind of why I started this YouTube channel, so I don't have to ask permission anymore. It's like all the money I make here, I get to spend. You know?
Well, I'm not gonna say I'm devastated, but I'm relatively broke after sitting home for 4 months. So I need to find a way to maybe put a little Etsy coin in my pocket on top of providing a greater service. And I think these little blowers will be something worth selling. When you look at the price of a PAPR or a personal air, whatever, I forget what it stands for, these little pumps are really expensive. Like when you go looking at them, they're upwards of up $1,000 to $2,000. So, and not everybody could justify that. So, making one of these, and or even selling them, like say on Etsy, and you know how it ends up. You end up giving it away. But I need money now, so if I could sell 10, 15 of them for $100,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that would make things right, you know, in my world. I'm not, like I said, I'm not devastated, but a little money would be nice.
Yeah.
And because when you saw the two designs, and I brought them up on my page, but they're
You want to show them?
not yet,
Okay.
but because they're so rough at this
Sure.
point. Like I just wanted I wanted the design I sent you. I wanted to make sure that it could pull through a filter, because I know it pushes enough air to fill up the mask now. I have the pumps here. I'll grab them real quick. Sorry, back of my head. Back of my head's better than the front of my head though. So basically, what we have here are, I think they're 5105 little blower motors. I mean, they're not medical grade in any way, and this isn't really designed for medical people, but like for essential workers. And today I just tested by putting them on both sides of my mask. I ended up with just one of them, right? Pointed into the mask like that, and it was great. It was like just for testing, it was like no mask at all, fresh air constantly. And as you know, we talked about this earlier in the week, but I'm gonna knock over the house. Hold on. Good. This mask we were talking about.
Mhm.
Now my next one will have a little hose that comes out of here. Not quite CPAP size hose, but not fish tank hose either. You know, trying to find the right hose in the middle to go from the box to that. And that the little one will be small enough to fit in your pocket be powered by one of these, you know, the standard battery backup. You buy them at Walmart, $9 at the counter.
Yep.
You can get a couple of those and have as much power as you need to run that. And this one will run it all day already. But I was just going for proof of concept. And so when you wear something like this, especially where you live, where it's hot, you can wear that and you can walk around a busy store and not feel like you're going to pass out.
Yeah.
Right. You know, because you're getting air. This filter still stays. It'll be an exhaust filter, which, if you're looking at all the masks out there, that's the problem. Because masks, they're not really to help you. They're to help everybody else. People have a problem grasping that, but the simplest way is just think about the technology used for the last 100 years at least. Doctors wear masks when they work on you. It's not to protect them. When they're doing a surgery on your abdomen, they're all wearing masks and gloves. This isn't for them. This is to protect you from anything that comes out of them. It's always been that way. It's not new. In the hospital, when you get sick and they have to move you around the hospital, if you're contagious, you're wearing a mask as you're in the hallways. It's not a new idea, but everybody is always thinking it's to protect them. This idea protects you and it protects everybody else. So, I mean, if we could do it, we might as well do it right and be comfortable. And if I could throw something together that, like I said, it's not going to be medical grade, but it is going to be much better when you're working, having a constant flow of air into you. It's not oxygen, but it's going to be, I think it's going to, if the price is right, it should be something I could send a bunch out before I give up the print for everybody. You know what I mean? Because like I said, right now, money's tight. No toys for Nacho. But I think it'll be a good idea. I think it has potential. Even this mask, which was a download, like a normal, I didn't design this.
Sure.
What if I take the filter out, right? Redesign that part with the hose input. So if you already have one of these masks, because I mean, they're a dime a dozen. A lot of people have these masks. Download off of Thingiverse. And I just have this modified with a hose, so you can have your filter and an airline to it. The little papper thing for, you know, the single one for say $40, $50 is like a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Because all the work's done for you. I mean, these, you can get these pre-wired from people on Etsy. This is where I got this one. Why I spent the money, I don't know. I could have got the fans for almost nothing. But I wanted these for, I was working on a defroster for my helmet. But
that's cool.
These will be scavenged and put into these were the molds. Like if you look at the center part, it's two of these, and and it's all ducting. So I'm hoping it turns out good. If it turns out good, the lower cover will be modified to fit this in it, the battery backup, the battery to power it. And the front cover will be modified to hold some kind of generic HEPA filter. And then it'll be done. And I think it'll be reasonable to manufacture and pop and be able to sold at a price that's fair and helpful to people. If you're a 60-year-old cashier wearing a mask all day, this is something that would make your life a lot easier. It's not oxygen, but it'll do the job on a 90-degree day. It'll make you happy.
Yeah. I struggle with wearing a mask everywhere I go because of my beard. I'm not shaving my beard off because I look stupid without it. But I think I've got like 4 chins down here.
Yeah, I got a couple myself.
But oh my gosh, just like when I come out of the grocery, and I don't have to wear a mask all day like you do, but like even just going grocery shopping and coming out of the grocery store into that hot air in the parking lot, and I just rip it off, and it's like letting my face breathe. So any kind of mask that has airflow. Now I wear a CPAP all night, and it's got constant airflow. The other thing I wanted to ask you, in your design, you had the tube that the fan blows out of, but then there was another hole. Is that for intake, or is all the intake coming through the filter?
The 2 intakes right now on the current base thing that I just sent you is just that grill. That cover will be changed to something that holds a filter once it's worked out. I need to hold it in my hand and see how it feels and how it's weighted. You know what I mean? Because I honestly, I think the single blower one with just a stretchy kind of power cord with a belt clip on both of them will make more sense for a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're saying I'm going into the store for 15 minutes, I don't need a big brick like that. I don't need a 20,000 milliamp. I can get away with one of those little cheap, tiny ones. Do you know what I mean? It's so, and stick it right in my back pocket. It's
let me see if I can pull that up. I wanted to show you this, see if I can find it.
I've been wearing a CPAP for probably close to 12 years also, so I get it. They're 808.
This is. Have you seen one of these?
No, I have
Nacho?
not.
So this is
No.
by Joby. I had one of these a long time ago. They make them for usually Android phones. So there's like a micro USB and a USB.
Is that a
But
battery?
it's a ton. So this is a phone, and then this little black thing is the power bank. Okay,
Oh,
so it has these rubber spider things that kind of wrap around each corner. But
right.
I saw your design and it kind of looked at least the one with two blowers. What am I doing? I'm
Yes.
clicking on the wrong screen. But it was, of course,
Those they sell those rubber things in I see them on eBay all the time. They use them to hold cell phones into like bike mounts.
Oh yeah,
And they're
bicycle
very
mounts.
right, so that you can get them
Perfect.
pretty cheap. So I mean, that's why I said that's why the covers are separate, because they're kind of they're projects in their own. It all depends on like what kind of filters you have, because you can see you can buy filters. I've been doing this for a while. I've been quiet, but I've been busy doing all kinds of stuff. But there's all kinds of different materials. So you have like, this is a HEPA filter cut in half. It's supposed to be one of these will fit across batteries under the filters, would fit across the thing, and so it'd be the whole cover and get a lot of air through there. But we don't need anything that big.
Yeah.
I also have my old CPAP machine, which actually I ended up buying a bunch of the filters in a deal on Amazon. So I could cut like a rectangle for each fan separately, and because if it can handle the volume that's pumping through my CPAP, it should be able to handle the volume of those two fans. They're super slow resistance.
Yeah.
I had some other stuff that I was playing with. Oh, you saw the clear mask? There it is.
I saw where one guy made them out of air conditioner air filters. So
Well,
you could buy a really big one.
That's a difficult thing. Like this thing goes in line in a CPAP machine.
Okay.
In the hose. Like this, honestly, it could end up with no filter, and the nozzle opening that comes out is this size. So this could be screwed on first, and then the hose can come off of that. And you saw what I did the other night. Oh, I'll do it for them. Like look how much humidity there is in this. There's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see most of it, it's very cold in here because of the AC, but it filters most of it. Like very little gets to the other side, although that was an excessive amount, so it probably did. But when you breathe normally, one side is always clear and the other side is fogged up. So I mean, there's a lot of potential here to work with. I'm excited about doing it. If anything, just for myself, because it's a long day with a mask. Another nice part about keeping the battery pack separate is if you make this cord long enough, you're sitting at a computer at a desk, you can unplug the battery and plug that right into your computer to take power off of it. And then as you're sitting there, you're getting air. If you have the right cord attached to it, any kind of USB extension cord, you're good for all day sitting there.
That's awesome.
So in a busy working situation, I think that'd be great. My next thing is going to be, once that's worked out, I have a bunch of designs for using it with a paper mask, like a standard paper mask, or a cloth mask. Although right now, like say the simplest solution is your, like a nasal cannula, like when you're in a hospital and the hose goes over your ears and into your nose. Those are cheap. You can buy them on Amazon for $3 a piece. You could just put one of those onto your mask and plug it into the pump and stick it in your back pocket. Run the hose down the back of your shirt and you got fresh air all the time. It's still filtered through the machine, and the exhaust will filter out the mask. So it's got potential to be used many different ways. Again, not medical grade, better than room air, better than no mask. Then if you have to wear a mask, it's better than nothing at all. Because it gets hot behind that mask.
Yeah. I want to do a quick roll call so far. We've got Britt Newman in the house. We've got Bob Casey in the house. And 808 State showed up, but he's leaving now. He's got to go back to work. But thanks for hanging out, guys. And what we're talking about tonight is Nacho has presented a couple designs to me over Facebook, and Nacho works in the medical industry, and he has to wear a mask all day long. So he is trying to pave the way for the future of mask wearing all day with designs to help you breathe better. A lot of us have had experiences with CPAP machines, respirators. He's talked about nasal hoses, like for oxygen, an oxygen apparatus. So we're playing around with ideas. I've got my 3D printer in the background. It is dead in the water, so Brent was asking me some questions about it, so I'll answer those questions to see if he's got any ideas. Brent Newman, the only thing that is happening now, so I updated the software on my computer, and it said something about a firmware update, but the software says that the firmware is updated on my 3D printer. So the first problem was that the platform was an inch lower than it should have been. So the extruder, when it was extruding, squirted out. Looks like my cat just broke in my office. It pushed through the door and it's rubbing my legs now. But so that was the first problem. But then the second problem was the extruder. It sounds like it didn't even. It's like trying to push out, but it can't. So I don't know if I've messed up the leveling and there's not enough room for the extrusion to come out. But anyway, I'm just playing with it.
Mike, I have a clog.
Yep.
Have you ever clogged?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Because
Yep.
I meant the printer, Shawn.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. You can I was watching a video on this, and I think they said, like, if you're going to, like, take the line out, you should try pushing before pulling it out. Maybe if you let it warm up and give it a little push, it'll push the clog out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like I said, I don't have one.
Yeah.
I've been saving my pennies. Do you want to see what I've been using to make money?
Sure. Yeah, I replaced the filament in it, so I thought. Yeah.
Well,
I put it in and put it out a couple times, but I don't know. I tried every possible thing I could think of.
You know what? I sold all the ones that I had, but I've been selling them at work. I'm like a gypsy now. Basically, what it was is these little clamps with elastic in between them, so they could hook them to the back of their the strings that are behind your ears on your mask, and it stretches it out so it keeps it off your ears, so your ears don't hurt when you're wearing it all day.
Oh, that's cool.
And I made one for me at work, and somebody said, "Oh, that's great. I'll give you $5 for it." And I went, "Here you go."
Nice.
Next thing you know, I sold $300 worth of them. So people just come up. Are you the guy who sells the things? And I haven't been able to keep one. Like, I can't even show you because, again, but this is the normal elastic that I use on it. This a little thicker, and it looks made nicely when it's done, not just a piece of string. This is just a rough moment. But I have the money for my printer just about. I think I have to count it, but a lot of fives. I look like a stripper. My bag. I just keep shoving it in my bag.
Yep. I had there was a woman, a physical therapist here that she made a headband and put buttons on each side. And so then she wraps her mask around the buttons on it.
It's furry friend night on the Shawn Studios.
Yep.
It's like, I don't want to be up here. There, Nikki. Did you see the video I made this week? I made an actual video for the first time in a long time.
I did. My favorite part was when Nikki ran up and just jumped up on your bike. Like, let's go.
Yeah, that was on the iPhone, but the rest of it on the motors on the big bike, that's all GoPro Max stuff.
Yeah, I saw that one too. I saw like a Planet version.
Yeah, it was like,
Nikki
I
was
forgot
like,
how nice it is.
It looked like she just had her hind legs in the bag, and everything else was like.
Yeah,
I was like, you better not go over a speed bump.
Yeah, right. I'll have to say that she's only fallen out once ish, and it was like that. It was over this weekend, and she's much more aware of the fact that it's possible. She kind of like her, and I actually have footage of it because there's this one thing you see her. She'll put her front feet on the phone because I hit the brakes, and she went whoop onto the iPhone, and she was like, okay. Her feet were. She was completely out of the basket for maybe a split second, and then she was back in again. So, but she's strapped in. She has a thick bungee leash that stretches. So it won't stretch far enough for her to reach the ground, but it'll stretch far enough for her to get out of the bag.
So you're not going to have like a National Lampoon situation where the leash is. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't, and that's strange that I don't, because it's bad.
It's the original Vacation where he.
With the dog.
The dog was on the. They tied the leash to the bumper of the car.
Yeah.
And he's like, I bet that guy ran about 50 miles.
When you said National Lampoon, I'm so old, I automatically go back to Animal House. Okay. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Ride motorcycles upstairs, quality entertainment.
Yep.
I hear my wife.
Yeah,
it took me.
Zoe, for everybody that hasn't met Zoe, she's a tortie, so she looks like a tortoise shell. Has all the colors of a tortoise shell. She's got gold eyes, but she's probably the best cat I've ever had. She just kind of. She's not annoying. She's not loud. She just kind of will just sit on your lap for hours and just hang out.
I like that, the cat.
Yep.
So.
She's got her tail wrapped around my arm like a monkey.
She's like, studio session. I'm going to lick your fingers after dinner.
Yep. This is how I bathe her. So yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Something Nacho, something I wanted to tell you is my dad has this, it's like a shield, it's like a face shield, but it's for woodworking, and it has a big hose that comes out of the back of it.
Right.
And it hangs down his back. And it's awesome whenever you're have sanding something and you don't want to get sawdust up your nose or anything like that. But if you fart, it sucks that fart right up in your mouth.
Okay, so a little CPAP comedy.
Okay.
When I was doing race day photo, and I was living in the RV on the road all the time, and I'd be sleeping at racetracks like Pocono Raceway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It got cold in the RV at night because I like it cold. I'm not turning the heat on to sleep. But my bed was so far away from the plug that my CPAP machine would lay on the bed with me, just so to reach the cord. And somehow it ended up under the blankets.
Oh gosh!
Oh my god!
Nobody wants to smell themselves at night.
No, not unfiltered like that, straight from the source, because it was like right next to my waist under the bed, under the blanket, and I don't know. It was beer and cheese and everything else that we had that night. Camping at the racetrack. It woke me up.
I bet.
Yeah. And then we used to have a pit bull named China, and she would lay in the RV, and her butt would be pressed up against the CO2 sensor, and she would fart and set off the CO2 alarms in the RV and wake us up at night. We'd all wake up laughing, and then just Ben did it too. Ben was he was good at that.
Yeah.
He was very good at that.
This conversation is probably going to get a monetization flag as inappropriate for my taste.
It's my fault. Wait, but no, Brent's having Taco Tuesday.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But the have you watched there's a show on Netflix called Down to Earth with Zac Efron?
No.
You're probably not a fan of Zac Efron, but the Down to Earth show is a really, really awesome show. It's like a travel vlog style, and they're kind of seeking out kind of fixing the world's problems with kind of natural ideas. So like getting energy from hot springs, or but there's a village in Costa Rica that they went to, and the whole idea is their entire property is their garden. So they grow these huge fruit trees that are constantly giving them fruit and all this kind of stuff. But they're reusing everything they have. So all their natural waste goes to a methane digester that they created. And basically it's this concrete cistern that's filled up with their crap. And then there's a pipe on top that, as the methane comes up from their waste, it goes in this big bag. So they have a village fart bag, and it's literally like taking all of their methane, and then they use that as fuel to burn, and then they use the physical waste as fertilizer
Compost.
for their plants. And I was like, but like that big bag, I mean, it was huge, a huge bag of just.
I've seen those on pig farms, right? And they have to be. It's seriously dangerous.
Oh, yeah, flammable, very flammable.
Like they have to have the pipe come up to a vacuum, like into an empty space. So usually it's like a tube that'll rise as the tube will come up through water, and then hit, and it'll bubble out in the water, and then the container, like an upside down container, will be up above it, and then as it's not me. The upside down container will start filling and then lifting out of the water. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that you don't get any O2 in with it, because that's when it gets released. That's not me. That's for once.
So it's like a fart bong.
Oh yeah. Fart
That's
bong.
funny. Yeah, yeah, that was Mario. I sent the invite to a bunch of people, but
I woke up to one last week.
Yeah.
Oh, son of a gun.
What was I gonna say? When I was in college, we had so I was in a woodworking class. We had this huge wood shop, and there was a room set aside to finish furniture with, and it's because the fumes from
the varnishes and things like that.
Yeah, the fumes from the varnishes were very flammable, and so you had a room that you had to turn the light switch on the outside, and then go in and then close it and then do your stuff, so that even the spark from a light switch would blow up everything.
It's amazing we lived through high school back then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see those pictures of like huge monkey bars in the parks and stuff, where you like literally 2 stories up climbing around on the monkey bars, and I'm like,
oh, yeah.
They'd never get away with that today.
Yeah.
You're lucky you can go down a slide today.
Yeah. There's a place in outside of Nashville called Cedars of Lebanon, and it's a place where we go camping usually once a year. But there is one of those like 2-story polished aluminum or polished stainless steel slides that goes straight down, and then it launches you at the end. My butt's too big to fit on it now, but we put my daughter on there. She's tiny, and she just launched down that thing.
When DJ was little and I was not as huge as I am now, we went to a place called Knoebels in Pennsylvania. It's a popular park here, and there was like a 4-story circular slide where you come around like a corkscrew all the way down.
Oh yeah.
We waited online for hours to go going up on the ladder, and we get all the way to the top. I go to sit down. I slide maybe a foot and get wedged in. My kid, I was like, oh, and everybody's yelling, oh, you stupid fat A, and my son was small, and we were by ourselves, so, and the guy's like, just let your kid go, and I'm like, my kid's like, no. Like, finally, DJ, I'm stuck. He was sitting between my knees, you know what I mean? We were going down together, and I just had to push him, and I hear him screaming all the way down, like, as he's going around to that side. And then I had to take the walk of shame down the stairs, like past everybody, which was barely enough for me to fit through. So I'm like, not very COVID friendly. I'm squishing past people, pushing them up against the wall, feeling like so embarrassed. And I get down to the bottom, and DJ's there, and he's like freaking out because I'm not there. And he was little. And my friend who we went with was with his kid, finally came over where we were. And he was like, what happened? He already heard the story from my son, and I don't know how he told the story, but he was rolling on the floor laughing as I came out of the stairs. And that was a long time. I mean, that was hundreds of pounds ago. I can't imagine now. I don't think now I'd probably die going up the stairs. But yeah. I know better. Ugh, terrible. Ugh, it's terrible.
That's funny.
That's sad. It's funny because it's sad. That's what it's...
No, you can laugh at yourself later.
I laugh at myself all the time. I laughed at myself that day. I have to. You got to find it's like God gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? You gotta okay, well, I could beat myself up over this, or I could just move on. And 150 pounds later, I moved on.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Willy Wonka.
Yeah, where, the blueberry.
The German kid gets stuck in the chocolate fountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, Charlie, remember when you were asking how a shotgun works? Where'd my water go? There it is.
My water's empty. I just got ice. And my dog won't bring me any because she has got no thumbs. She can't get the refrigerator door because she's only this tall. I can't see myself. There you go. So how is... I'm watching the news. That's pretty much what I do now. I'm like weirdly obsessed with the news. How are things in the Nashville area, like COVID wise? Are people scared? Are they just still thinking it's BS? I mean, or is it affecting enough people that people know somebody who knows somebody who got it, and they're kind of more concerned?
I feel like every time we hear somebody that we know that has it, all of a sudden people get freaked out again. But I think people in Nashville are so tired of being away from other people. They're kind of like, well, just screw it. If I get it, I get it. So I see a lot of people out. I see a lot of people out in public. Like, I've kind of cowered away from some people in public because they're just walking straight towards me, and I'm like, whoa, dude. Right. Or like,
you see somebody without a mask on, you don't know what to do.
I know.
Do I need to call somebody?
There was a guy, and I kid you not, his mask was like out here, and I think he had like toothpicks, like holding it away from his face or something so he could breathe. But and then I saw this other woman. Oh,
doing one of these, the chin strap. I'll just hang this on my glasses. Here, I'm wearing my mask.
Yeah, I went to get pizza for dinner, and one of the cooks had it down by her chin. And I was like, take it off. It's not doing anything. Like,
you're not protecting anybody. You're just trying to keep people off your back. You're not
right.
And it's like, it's so hard because they either don't understand why this is so bad, or
right.
don't, or they don't understand that in a nutshell, they don't understand why it's so bad because you spread it before you know you have it. So I feel great today. And then you go out. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, and I'm gonna high five everybody and whatever. I'm gonna hang out. We'll go to the bar and have a few beers. Then you wake up the next morning and go, oh, this hangover is worse than normal. And then find out you test positive and you spread it to everybody you just with. But we all felt fine. But that's why it's bad, because it spreads before you know you have it. Then, and it was horrible. Let me just tell you, it was horrible, and I'm surprised that as big as I am, I lived through that. Yeah. And the fact that when I found out that so by now, because I was February, March when I got it, my antibodies are already gone. So if I get exposed, I can get it again. It's like the goddamn cold. Sorry, gosh darn cold.
Beep. I missed it.
Oh. Yeah. But I just I don't want that again, because every time you see somebody who died, you see them on the news. What are they? They're fat. I have yet to see a skinny person on the news showing this person died of COVID. It's always the fat person. It's the diabetic. It's the high blood pressure. But it's black, white. I don't care what color you are. They're always fat.
Yeah.
And I'm always fat. So you can see where I'm concerned about this. This is a big concern. And you all know me for a while, right? I can be pretty stupid and dumb and funny. And I'll just tell you that I don't feel that it's the time to be that way. Right. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm having a hard time doing videos, because I like to be goofy and play on things. But you know what? This isn't the time for that. This is time for productive. To me, anyway, like I said, I lost my mind. This is the time for productive. Do what's right. If doing what's right is sitting home and staying away from people, great. If you have an ability to do something to help other people that makes a difference, great. Don't get me wrong. Entertaining people when they're locked in their houses, very important. But it left me like questioning everything. Which I know it sounds too deep and weird, but you know what? I grew up making fun of everything.
Yeah.
And now everybody's like everybody gets worse from generation to generation to generation. You got to push that just a little bit further, and you got people now who are just, and I'm sitting there going, wow, they're no worse than I was. The bar's just been set higher, and I'm like, maybe I got to find a different way of expressing myself, because yes, I'm funny, but it might not be a good thing. So I'm lost, and I know that things will get better. I'm not like I don't think of it's like the end of the world. It might be for some people though, but I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to the technology, playing with cameras and playing with drones. It just seems like reckless. Not reckless, but like the world's burning and you're sitting here playing your fiddle. You should need to go out there and do something. Get him a bucket. Do something. Don't just, I don't know. I'm just confused. And, and not even to mention the climate of the country and riots and it's like, it's hard to be funny when so many people are suffering. It's like, I don't know. So I've been spending a lot of time thinking, sitting by myself and contemplating why everything is. And I don't know. I'm not going to get political. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I don't think it's any one person's fault. But it's coming out because of COVID, I think, because everybody's had enough. Like you said, people know that they can get sick, but they're going to those parties anyway. People are sick and tired. It's last straw. They've been in the house too long, and it's magnifying everything that's going on. Yeah. The underlying things in our nation are being brought to the front because people they got too much free time on their hands. They've been sitting home too long. I mean, it's just it's different times. It's amazing how much the world's changed, or the temperament and the temperature of the world has changed in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Or the last year. But I
Yeah.
think
So I'll say, like, a lot of the things that you said of like it's like do something. Like, I think um you got a positive way of looking at things and you got a negative way of looking at things with every situation. And I think, if you're a funny person, you bring joy to people, and joy gives people strength. You've got an opportunity in the health industry to, make somebody smile that's otherwise, suffering or, in pain.
well, when I see patients, I bring the person to the exam room. I know how to ride that line of what's politically, I don't get. I've never been written up for my behavior, but I've had people laughing to the point they were in tears. Listen to people who you could tell that they needed to be listened to.
Yeah.
Because I spend 20, 30 minutes with a patient touching them. I can't just sit there quietly. We talk. I relax them, and I could feel as I'm scanning you the tension leave your body when I say the right thing or get on the right topic.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding. I don't know any other ultrasound tech who feels that way, because most people don't like the interaction. They just want to do their job and make. I know most of the ultrasound techs that I know said that, well, when I studied the least amount of education for the most money you gain from it, ultrasound tech was the way to go. Plus, you don't have to change dirty diapers. So I was like, whatever. I never knew that. I just did it because I wanted to do something. I wanted to help. But the new job is cool. Not very busy. But the 140 mile per day round trip is exhausting. And I've only got on the bike twice because the bike needed tires, so it wouldn't pass inspection. But now it's inspected and fixed and everything. And I didn't ride today because, well, we had a silly hurricane, tropical storm.
Just a
I'll
hurricane.
ride to my Charger. To be honest with you, the bike would have handled better. My Dodge Charger is like, woo, I fishtailed coming off the highway today. I thought for sure I was going all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, this so much for traction control. Good times.
Yeah. So Brent, or should I say your name on here? Maybe I should just say Eat More Possum.
Yeah.
Spent 3 days and drove 1,000 miles geocaching and droning Oklahoma grain elevators. So when you're geocaching, do you look for geocaches that are grain elevators, or you just happen to see grain elevators while you were geocaching? I did a little bit of geocaching, but it was more like bugs, where I forget what it was called, but it was little things that would travel. So you take the bug and then you put it in a geocache somewhere else. That was a lot of fun.
We had that on Adventure Rider, where we would take something like, say, we had this little doll that was from Toy Story, Twitchy. It was like the Mothman almost, it looked like.
Oh yeah.
And we would take it someplace and hide it, and then give clues as to where it was, and then show a picture of a close-up of the actual location. So it would just be like a tree with a rocklet or something. So, and okay, like I picked it up at a state park near a certain plaque. I picked it up at somebody else's house, an important one. I can't remember, like Philadelphia history, somebody really important. And it was in the rocks, jammed in between the rocks and the wall in front of his house in Amish country. But so you'd find out who it is, you get the hint, where he was born, we'd ride out there and take a picture with it, and then you'd have to hide it someplace else. I was good at that. I liked that game because you had to be smart. You had to ride lots of miles. Good times.
My favorite geocache that I ever had was I used to work in Franklin, Tennessee, and there was a geocache like right behind my work. There's this graveyard behind my work, and I saw that there was geocache in there, and it was this woman's gravestone. It was a tree. Well, it was in a tree near the woman's gravestone, and when you opened up the geocache, it told you to find this lady's name, and then it said, "This lady is Minnie Pearl." And I was like, "Oh, that's
Like
kind
her
of."
real name, right? Oh,
But that was her. Yeah, and I don't even remember what her real name was. But here lies this woman, and that was Minnie Pearl. That was her grave, and I was like, and I'm sure there's those everywhere in Nashville. Like, there's probably country stars buried all over this place. But I thought that was really, really cool. And on the gravestone, it had a picture of her hat, her corn, or whatever it was, not corn, but her straw hat that had flowers all over it.
It's funny. I'm not surprised that she's dead, but at the same time, I think I thought I would have heard about that. You know what I mean?
She'd be like in her hundreds by now.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in my hundreds.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I'm not used to being live, like from my actual home.
Yeah. And usually you're in
I'm somewhere else.
Airbnb or whatever the things you live in.
Yeah. I might be getting a place in Allentown where I work, because the 70 miles each way is wiping me out. Because by the time I get home, I got nothing. It's costing me about $600 a month in gas and tolls, because I have to take the turnpike. So,
oh wow,
I'm thinking that I was looking at like rooms, like the kind of stuff I normally stay in, and they're only like $300 a month. And I work Monday through Friday, no call, no weekends, which is fantastic. That kind of life. I never thought I'd live that life. So maybe I'll get a room like I have been, and just go on Monday morning, go to work, stay in my room till all week, and then on Friday go to work, and then just go home and be home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday each week. We'll see. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't watch YouTube, but I listen to YouTube. I listen to because if you get up in the morning and I listen to like all the late shows, Colbert, all of them, and you can listen to that without looking at it. You know what I mean? Because they're all doing their home shows. I listen to whatever the top news stories are, and I listen to people review 3D printers and find out how you do this and how you do that, and modification stuff that you don't need to look at. News is the best because you don't need to look at the phone, but my phone is like right there on the dash, so if I have to steal a quick glance at something that's actually interesting, I can. But for the most part, the dog is getting at. The dog's attacking my feet. I could I listen to a lot of mostly news at this point because I'm obsessed with the world and confused by the world. I think this whole thing has broken me, but that's what I do. I used to listen to audiobooks. I have a couple, and I said I was going to listen to them, but now I'm it's going to be a month that I'm there, and I haven't listened to one audiobook going down. So
nice.
And Shawn Night Studios isn't on at the right time, so I can't listen to that on the way home. Not like in California, watching the show.
Ride my
bike down the Pacific Coast Highway, listen to the White Line and Pacific Coast Highway, listen to Shawn. Yeah, good times. That was a pretty ride home. So it's all flooded here. When I came out of the hospital, the way I normally go home was there's like a dip as it goes up to the next hill. I'm gonna say that because it was up to the second floor of the house in the bottom of the dip, and there was an RV, and you could just see the air conditioner sticking up out of the water that's usually parked there. So I had to find a new way home today.
When I was in high school, there was a girl that drove. It was a morning that flooded, and she couldn't get to school because she drove through one of those big puddles, and water logged her car. sucked a bunch of water into the intake.
I did that in my Jeep in a water crossing once, and everybody was like freaked out. I was like, there used to be an off-road park here called Paragon, and I was one of the instructors. And don't die, Shawn.
COVID.
So I'm sitting there, I'm texting everybody, asking them to bring me a water because I'm like, sorry. And I drowned my Jeep, and everyone was freaked out. And I told them, I'll catch up. Just go, because they were it was such a slow group, and I wasn't technically the lead that day. And you have to take out all your spark plugs, right? And then you crank the motor, and there's always some idiot who's helping you. And I would go, hey, watch and tell me when the water comes out. I gotta go crank it. And I don't know if you ever seen a motor crank with no spark plugs, but it goes really fast because there's no compression. So it sounds more like an impact gun than an engine starting. And it shoots water about, I don't know, 60, 80 feet in the air from the spark. Yeah,
That's
good
awesome.
times. That was so mean. Guys are looking, dude, it's soaked. But I mean, literally, because I knew what to do. I didn't cry about it. I wasn't going to change my oil because it was still at a normal dipstick level. Like if I pulled the dipstick out and it was like filled to the top, then I know I'm full of water.
Yeah.
So I pulled out the spark plugs and put them back in less than 10 minutes, and we were back with the crowd. They made it all of like 50 yards through the rocks before. Good times, water crossings, mud's horrible.
Me and my wife, when we were dating, I had a Jeep Wrangler that was up on 30 somethings. They might have been 31s, and then it had a 2-inch lift, and we were I was showing off, and we were at Cedars of Lebanon, and there was this dried up creek, and I was kind of showing off the Jeep, and I drove on this dried out creek, and we drove maybe half a mile, and I went really, really slow because there were all these sharp rocks, and I didn't want to pop my tire and all that stuff. And so we parked the Jeep in the creek, and then we go up to the main road, and I see this sign that says like $5,000 fine or something, like some
trespassing.
It was a national park, like all it was like. So Aaron and I ran as fast as we could back to the Jeep, and I didn't go slow at all. I got off of that creek as fast as I could.
Your wife is a teacher, isn't she?
Yep.
How is she feeling about all this?
She's kind of okay with it. She's already like taught vacation Bible school at church and stuff like that. But what they're doing in their district is they're doing a hybrid school or hybrid. So
see, hybrid sounded great to me I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep the dog happy and quiet at the same time. But then somebody pointed out, it's the worst of both worlds, because they still stand a chance of getting sick, and you're still trying to figure out who's going to watch your kids half the week. And I was yeah, I guess, but some people just can't see the light of the day. They just, everything's bad. Oh, look at this! I won $1 million. How the hell am I going to get this home?
Yeah. Well, you fill a classroom.
Can't be happy.
You fill a classroom with 24 kids, or you fill a classroom with 12 kids. So there's half the chance.
Oh, Steve, you're not that late-ish. Wait, is it 7 o'clock? Oh, you're late, Steve. All right. Well, if you do the hybrid thing, though, like, because they're going to try it here, and they're going to do school on Monday and Tuesday in classes. They're going to have off on Wednesday. Everybody takes school from home on Wednesday, and then the other half of the school goes Thursday and Friday. So each class will have half the amount.
Yeah.
Wednesday is for cleaning the school, so that the one group of kids doesn't get sick from the other group of kids that were there the day before. And the majority of the work that can be done online is done online. So, it sounds like a good plan, but it's people just don't see the positive.
My wife will be there 5 days a week. and then my kids will be there 5 days a week, because they'll be going with her. So that all the teachers' kids are in another classroom. But I think there's only like, well, I don't know how many kids there are, but my kids will be exposed to more
Right.
friends, and my son's on the football team, and my
Well,
daughter's a cheerleader. So
it's it's you don't have to worry about them. It's worrying about you and your wife. Although you got a young wife, not like not like me. Sorry.
she's not that young.
Yeah, she just looks that young. I'm always kissing your wife's butt. That's so if she watches it and you say that nacho was bad today, go, I don't know. He said I look young. I don't think you're crazy. He
Yeah.
seems nice to me.
Yeah.
But I have no 3D printing experience whatsoever outside of Tinkercad. And well, I downloaded and I have my 1 year free trial of Fusion 360, and I'm baby steps. I like Tinkercad because I could do it on my iPad with and I could sit
cool.
there and I could do like what I did for the small mounted. I did that on my iPad at my desk at work in quick. I've gotten used to it, and as long as you're not getting too complicated, you can actually do some quite interesting stuff with it. But
where'd you get your measurements from? Did you have some calipers or?
yeah, I do have calipers. I'll keep them in my bag. I have little calipers, and those fans I found on on Shapeway, Thingiverse. So those are the exact 5105s blowers. So I found them made with good reviews. So I just use them to cut out their shapes it started out as a solid rectangle,
Okay.
like a gold bar, and I made cutouts using the files for the blowers, so that the shapes would be right. That's why I said being printed at 101%, just so it's slightly bigger, so the fans just drop in easier. I mean, I think it'll fit either way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
so
then I would
use the fan models to create negative space.
Right.
Cool.
So and that way, because I did have like vents and everything like made, like bending tubes and all this other stuff, and I went, I'm wasting my time here. I should just make it solid and just take out the pieces. And the reason I took out a lot of that was just to save filament, and to make it lighter. So I like, once I have a printer myself and I could try and see what works and what doesn't work, it's going to be streamlined and cosmetically better. This is just like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
So that my wife will go, yeah, you are doing something.
The model that you sent me, when I put it into FlashForge, it takes you can set the infill rate.
Right.
And basically it creates like a honeycomb, like all the solid areas, it creates honeycomb.
10%, 20 at max. It doesn't have to be strong. It's like I said, it's just it's never going to get used except for prototyping. Like put it together and see how the wind flows through it. I mean, it's got a good curve, and the one pump shouldn't force the other pump, but because I know I do ultrasound. I know they say, well, what does that have to do with heat? But I'm a vascular tech, so I do a lot of hemodynamics and studying the flow of blood through vessels. So hemodynamics is hemodynamics. It's fluid, air. It travels the same way through tubes. So it's basically modeled after a carotid artery, the way it flows. So unless you're having a stroke, it should work fine. If you're having a stroke, you got bigger problems than my blower. But it seems like it should work. It should. I mean, it doesn't. And when I tell you, it doesn't blow excessively, but it blows enough for you to feel comfortable, without making any noise, because the blowers will be behind you and they make almost no noise as it is. So you just basically got to have. It's basically to give you positive pressure. What are we looking at? Oh,
that's not it.
That's not it. It's batteries. Positive pressure in your mask, so you're always, every time you breathe in, you'll have fresh air in your mask, which is what you want. And literally, if it's small enough to fit in your pocket, that's one more layer of filter protection, the material of your clothing. Now, if it's in your back pocket, you could have a bad day. But you get what I'm saying.
How long do you think it would run off of a 9-volt battery?
I don't know, but I could test because I happen to have a 9-volt battery, and it was something I was looking into. So maybe I'll set it up on a cam tomorrow and let it run.
So, have you seen these 9-volt batteries that are rechargeable?
With the USB, I have not. Actually, no, I think I have seen those.
So with your power bank, like,
yeah, but for that 9-volt battery that you're showing there, it's $8.29 for 2 of them.
Yep.
This power bank here, which is 20,000 milliamp, right,
yep,
was the same price, give or take 50 cents, at the checkout counter at Walmart.
I know, but I'm trying to think as portable as possible.
Right.
Like your design, if you put a slot for a 9-volt battery and then snap it in.
I'm trying to think. If on my page, I don't have, everything's private because I don't want people running with my idea before I get it done. I deleted it. I have one with the 9-volt built in. It had one fan and then it had a 9-volt in the other side and switches there. So like I said, if one fan does the job, then it could be about the battery pack could be there. And if that's the case, it won't be any bigger than this when it's just thicker when it's done. And this is something that you could put anywhere. You could put it on a lanyard and hang it around your neck, under your shirt, or you could put it in your, like I said, put it in your scrub top pocket if you're in healthcare. Or if you are a cashier and you're wearing an apron, you can put it around on a lanyard and hang it, and it could be right under your apron with just a small tube, like not as big as a CPAP tube. I don't know. So my new CPAP machine has a big tube, but then the last section is half the diameter, a tiny little flexible tube. I need to find if I could get that, like on a roll of that, because it's not big enough to like draw huge tension, but it would give you the most flow. But I think a modified version of a nasal cannula will be the best universal, just to make it work right away for people, because you don't even need it in your nose. You can cut those parts off. You just hang it over your ears before you put your mask on, and now you have air coming to your face. That's all you really want, is you just want some air. It might be blowing a little faster than you want because of the smaller tubing, but it's I'd rather have too much air behind my mask than not enough any day of the week. The hotter it gets, the worse it is. By the time I walk through the hospital to my office, where I spend most of my time, I am like barely can breathe behind the mask. You know, we have to wear the masks for the minute we get out of the car to the park garage. We have to have a mask on. So here I am carrying all my crap through the building with the stuff. I'm like God, sweating behind the mask. It's horrible. I originally wanted to make one with a fan on the front, but maybe once I have my own machine and I could prototype stuff and see it in my hand, or it's hard to like, I made the thing for you that you're printing like as easy as possible, because I wanted it to just to work. It didn't have to look pretty. It had to work. And like, once the covers I could modify and get ideas and play with different ideas and then come up with the next design. But right now I wanted something that wasn't going to be so precision that there was room for error in my calculations. So
yeah, there's when I was prototyping for that bridge for my DJI Phantom 4, that dropped the camera out of the sky that I gave you, and then you gave it back. So that when I was prototyping for that, I was trying to, I thought I did all the math right, but what I loved about having the 3D printer with me was that I could print. Oh my gosh.
Doorbell.
Yep. I could print, like I could start the 3D printer and let it run for about a minute and then stop the print. And then I had this little sliver of the size, and I could make sure that it fit on my Phantom before I printed the whole thing. So that's what, like, when you said print it at 101% just to make sure it fit. Like, if I print that at 101% and then I ship it to you and then it's the wrong size, you're going to be like, oh crap.
Well, there's most likely that these will drop right in, but that's what I'm worried about. Like if they're a little big, then there's some wiggle room that I can seal it. Do you know what I mean? But if everything's at a 101%, these will definitely fit. Like those little posts that stick up, I just break them off. You know what I mean? Because the posts right now, if the file is perfect, then these will just slip right over those posts, and with a little Velcro patch on the back, like I have on them inside the thing, they won't have to be screwed in. Just dropped it over the post and stuck. Boom, they're there.
That's a good idea.
And I think it'll be good. I know it'll serve the purpose that I want them for, right? Because that's like the more I think about the whole, the battery itself, like not having a battery and just having a reasonably long cord, or having just a short cord and then an extension cord, because I have USB extension cords. Thank you, 360 cameras, for making me have cables for everything, because you're always experimenting. So like if I'm sitting at my desk, my computer's on the floor right next to me. Yeah. I could just plug a USB port in and plug it into that blower, and it'll go all day. I don't have to use my battery. You know what I mean? So now it's just a small thing clipped onto my belt, like the back. That's like the back door, the back cover. I'll modify it with belt clips or a loop, or who knows, or a quarter 20. Hey, a quarter 20. That way, on summer 1,000-degree days, I can make a modified version that blows cool air into my helmet, or on rainy days, it blows cool air to defrost my face shield. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of potential if it, does right. I'm just hoping I don't need a bigger blower. I'm looking at bigger blowers. They're not that expensive, but these, I think I've seen them as low as like $2 a piece. But the average price is like $5. Yeah. The average price of these is about $5, change. They are
in the voltage and stuff like that.
They're 12 volts. They're 12 volts, 12 or 24, 12 to 24 volts. Okay. And they're 50 millimeter. So they're 15 is the number you'd look for. Like if you were to search 15 brushless motor, and you'll see they're all over the place. Basically, this was from a cosplay guy who makes them. So when he wears, he makes his like Darth Vader mask, he's got these things on the inside blowing air to cool them off. So when you're walking around Comic-Con, you're not dying. Okay. You know what I mean? That's what this little kit was for. And I was like, okay, that's I can experiment with that. Ideally, I would prefer maybe having I don't think there's 60 millimeter, but there are 90 millimeters, and then 120 millimeters. The 120 is just a little overkill, but but at the same point, if you have a variable potentiometer on there with a battery, because it'll be big enough that a battery would fit right next to it. Because if you ever crack one of these things open, you know what's inside of it? A lot of them, things that look like AA batteries.
Right, whole bunch of cells.
Right, so then you just put
cardboard. They look like they're covered in cardboard and all soldered together.
Yeah, you just use all your available space with those batteries, and you're good. You want the ball? Go get the ball. Get me a water. I'll give you 2 balls.
When I was at
that sounded really bad. Bad dog.
Okay, let's skip right over that. When I would do video for camps back in the day. This was before we had tiny cameras. I bought these pinhole cameras from this kind of nanny cam shop or whatever.
Right.
And with them, I'd have these big battery packs that would take like 8 AA batteries. And so I'd have this kid, he'd have a bandana on his forehead, and I'd put the little pinhole camera on him and then run a wire down his back into his pocket, and he'd have an antenna sticking out of his back pocket. And then I'd have my little video camera with a receiver, and he'd be eating in the cafeteria, and I'd get like kind of spy cam footage, candid. What I was going for was like candid footage of kids, because if kids see you with the video camera, they're like they
they're
jump
all
up in the camera and they're freaking out and making
gotcha.
faces. And then the other thing I did is I had a little remote controlled Jeep that I put the camera on, so I had all the kids were lined up for lunch, and so I'd drive the Jeep like. I'd have them all like kind of spread their legs open, and I'd like drive through the line and then drive around them and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. But I only had like maybe a 50-foot distance before
the camera didn't work anymore.
The feed would go away. Right.
So, have you played? Since this is a tech channel, right? I've been super nerding out on Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Those little computers. Have you done anything with those ever?
I played with one. Actually, I 3D printed a box for a guy that had, wanted. He put, I think he put three in sequence or something.
Right.
He made like a little server out of like pies. But there was another guy that they're a software developer, and they wanted to show how light their software was. It was a web app,
right,
that would pull from the cloud. So basically, all he had was a little, I think it was a little Linux machine in a little Raspberry Pi that ran a cloud app, and then he had 3D printed their logo and put the Pi in the middle of it.
Right.
So I'm intrigued by them, but I also don't feel like I have the time.
You know what? One of the big mods that people are doing for the Ender 3s, Ender 3 Pro and all that stuff, is it Octoprint? Have you heard of Octoprint? And what it does is it connects to your machine, and then it'll basically give you all you can see. You can see everything. You can plug a camera into it, so it's showing you, and you can remote access your machine from anywhere. No more walking over with a card. It's part of, you can wire it, because at Raspberry Pis now they have Wi-Fi. They're up to 8 gigs of RAM. You can run Windows 10 off of one. You won't run it well, but it'll run.
Right.
And
can you play Fortnite or Minecraft?
Yes, you can play Minecraft. That's all I care about. But Minecraft.
Right.
But the thing I have a water coming. The thing that Octoprint does, if you do a search for Octoprint time lapse, what it does is it always takes a picture when the print head is in a certain position. So at the end of each layer, the print head moves off to the side. It takes a frame, and then the print head goes back to work. So at the end of each layer, it does a time lapse, one layer at a time. So your time lapse doesn't show the print head moving at all, just the project growing up off of the bed, and it's very cool. And if you're at work and you got a 20-hour print going, you can log into your machine and just take a look and make sure that it's printing well. That it's not a tumbleweed in your box. And to build one of these, it's literally, I mean, if you go with like a normal 2 gig or a 4 gig, it's like $40.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? If you have a 3D printer, so you don't have to buy a case, you just bring your own. And I thought this was a very cool time. And then I made a Wi-Fi door peephole camera with a ladies' room. What? Oh no. I wonder how they did that kind of 3D print. Yeah, that's how they do it. Octoprint. And you can also hook up like a real camera. So if you have a remote shutter release, you can hook it up to the Octoprint and point a regular DSLR at it and do some pretty impressive stuff and get some wonderful time lapses. Or
cool.
But I like the idea that's one of the reasons I'm going, because I like to tinker. I like to make things. Okay, it doesn't do that. Well, let's see how. Can we make it do that? Where like an Ender 3, being that it's under $200 now, and or you go with the Pro. Even if you go with the Ender 3 V2, which is like their top Ender machine right now, that's like $250, $270. And you build an Octoprint for under $300. You have it set up the way you want it. And it's the newer one has the silent board, which that's one thing. The original Ender 3s were so loud, and the drivers in the board. But it should be fun to be able to print ideas as you have them, and then be able to actually remote use it and get these weird time lapses and just have something it's I don't know. I'm all in. I want to build a Raspberry Pi, and I want to do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley.
What's cool about like the Flashboard software that comes with that printer back there is you can pull in as many models as you want to.
And they'll always be there, right? After you put them in there?
Well, yeah, it's got memory on it. But you can pull, you can Frankenstein models. Like the model that you sent me, you had everything in one model, but it was better to print it if I turned the one with the tube sticking out of it. If I turned it sideways, it was a lot easier to fit on the platform.
Right.
So it'll let you cut things. So what I'll do is I'll go to Thingiverse and I'll download, there's one version of a GoPro mount that I use all the time, and I cut it off and then I slap it onto whatever shape I want. So there'll be a bracket that holds a field recorder. There'll be like a belt. Do I have it?
My dog is barking her head off.
Yeah, so I've got this field recorder, right?
Yes.
There's one guy that made a belt clip. Well, I don't want this thing hanging off my belt, but I also didn't want it weighting down my camera. So I took that belt clip, chopped the belt part off, added the GoPro mount to it, and then printed it that way. And it's almost like the fly where he was in the machine and then a fly was in there and then he got joined with the fly. So just same concept, but it's so much fun.
Well, just like I think about the early days, like it was that long ago, but it's been a couple of years.
Back in my day.
But the early days of the I can't even remember the name of it. I still have it. I can't remember the name. The camera with the head that turns all over the place. I don't even remember who made it. DJI.
Oh, the Osmo?
Osmo Pocket. There you go. But when I think about all those mounts that were released back then, like if you see all the different things and how we wanted something specific, how easy it would have been once somebody made one mount and the file was up there that it fit well in.
Yeah,
putting your 3/4 and all that stuff anywhere you wanted would have been cake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I have ideas. Always have ideas. And if you ever see these people, you get a print off of Shapeways. At least back then, it was like paper thin. And I'm like, hey, how about we?
Oh, and you sit it, and you're like, I would sit it in my car and then wait to do something on my lunch break, and then it'd be like limp, like it's like melted in half, and I'm like, oh.
Well, you live near the sun, so that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was probably 120 degrees in my car.
Yeah, I don't know what that is in Celsius, but pretty much after 60 Celsius, you got to start getting softening. My water. Yeah. My wife brought me a water.
Nice.
Yeah. And she didn't stick around to embarrass me.
It is 8:00 my time, and I've got a presentation in the morning, so I need to get going. But thank you, Nacho, for hanging out. Hopefully I can get my 3D printer working and I can print your prototype for you.
Hey, even if you just get the small one, done, I appreciate it. That's proof of concept that I need. I don't need the big one. It'll fit perfectly too on your thing, and you won't have to cut it up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Nikki says goodbye. I don't know if you can hear her.
Oh, we hear
Part.
her. We hear her.
Yeah, I guess this
Um,
microphone's not doing its job.
But everybody say goodbye to Nacho. Thank him for joining the show. He kind of showed up last minute, so I really appreciate that. But yeah. Oh, by the way, Nacho, did you see last week's live stream, like the replay or anything like that?
No, I didn't, because
Go ahead.
you're talking about the Anafi, right?
No, it was I designed a T-shirt last week.
Oh, that's right. I didn't see it. Does it have my picture on it?
No, but I talked about you a lot
Oh my!
because I talked about how you bought a shirt.
I have I bought. I was gonna bought the shirt.
Actually,
I wear the shirt.
I sold a shirt last week. Like one of the guys that was in here bought the shirt after I made it.
Oh well, I gotta see what that looks like. I
What?
have to go watch.
This is what we designed last week. And I'm starting like a drone.
Oh, I like that.
I feel like a lot of people really don't want to wear a Shawn Studios shirt, but there's a lot of people that fly drones. So
And a lot of things fold up.
yeah, so
That's
this is
fantastic.
This is a Mavic Mini, or no, this is the Mavic Air 2.
Did you get the Mavic Air 2?
I do. I have it.
And you love it?
Yeah, I haven't been able to get out and fly because it's been raining so long.
So you're ready to send the Mini my way?
We'll see.
I mean, you're mailing something to me anyway.
That's true.
I'm kidding. I don't. You know what? I still love my Mavic Pro. It does, because I do. It works great, and I use when I film. I usually film with a 360 camera off of it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't see any reason to change.
Yeah. But this is kind of my new line. This is a design called Quadcopter, and basically it's just a simple, 4-blade design.
Put a link in this in the chat so I can go look at it later. I'm not buying anything because I'm poor right now, but doesn't mean I won't.
I know.
I'm so poor. It's like I'm so poor. I'm almost willing to like network and sell stuff. Like kind of, how I'm all over people for self promotion.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, you know what? It's promotion should be anybody but you. If it's, you're just saying, hey, I'm great. If you're great, you don't have to tell people, that kind of thing. Well, I'm at the point now where I'm ready to self promote. I said I need something. I need a boost. But I like the fly unfold. Honestly, I like the fly unfolded 100 times better. I think that has that, because it doesn't stick to any specific brand,
right?
And I could see a lot of interesting ways of using that fly unfold. I love it. It's simple but powerful, and it's you can really do things with that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but when I do think, it's because I think in the morning. I don't really think much in the evening. My morning, I'm like full of ideas. But fly unfolded, I think that's got a lot of. There's something about it that just appeals to me dramatically.
Yeah. So
are those masks?
Yeah, these are face masks.
I want a Shawn face mask.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that too.
I saw a guy today with one that had it looked like a printed zipper across the front of it, like he was not supposed to talk.
Really?
Like zip my lip, and I thought, well, that's good, and it wasn't like. I've only seen it once. I'm sitting there going, that's interesting play on think of cartoony wise. You know what I mean? It was just a black mask with a white zipper across it. And I thought, my lips are sealed too, buddy. I find I don't talk to people as much anymore because, like in person, that's why I have so many words left for you guys. Because I think because just for the politenesses that you do, I'm more of a nod your head, like thank you. No, I don't want to talk because you send out more air when you talk. Yeah. So it just seems irresponsible to waste words now. That was, like I said, I'm broken.
Yeah. So I just there's masks on here. So if you have any ideas, just let me know. I think Fly Unfolded is kind of what we. Oh, I did this for you. This is why I talked about you last week.
This is for the dog?
This is a Fly Unfolded pet hoodie.
Oh, well, we're getting one. As soon as things get better, we're getting one for the fall. So when she goes riding with me, she's not cold. Oh, the purple's beautiful. It'll bring out the brownness in her everything. It's pretty much eyes, face.
Yeah. But
it's brown.
But I could even make one for Nikki that's like Easy Rider or,
Nah, this is the unfolded, the Fly Unfolded one. That's what she'll get. Because soon it'll be it's August, right? It's supposed to start getting cold soon. It's weird. But Pennsylvania, I remember riding home on my motorcycle at night in Pennsylvania, and in August, and it dropped and be in the 40s. So yeah, if you don't like the weather in Pennsylvania, just stick around 5 minutes. It'll change.
Sure.
But
so Stephen Drones, you said the baseball cap would be cool. What kind of baseball cap would you want? Would you want the hexacopter, or would it be something else? Because I know you've got a unique Typhoon H right there. But that's about all I have for tonight. I really have to pee, to be honest. I've been drinking water. I've been watching Nacho drink his water, and
he's got to go check his stream.
I've been trying to stay still over here, but the legs are clenched. So, yeah. Thanks, Nacho, for all you do, and I hope your new job is a blessing, and you'll be able to recoup kind of what you've missed out on for the last several months. But yeah, thanks for joining the chat. Thanks for hanging out and being you, or at least the PG version of you.
It felt good to be here, to be honest with you, because I've spent so much time by myself. I'm glad you had me. What happens lots of times when you disappear like I have, people forget you and they don't want you really to come back. So this has been great. We've been missing you, man.
I try to, people kind of come and go, but you're one of those that has been here for a while, and so I really don't want to see you go.
Yeah, I just been falling asleep after, I come home from work and then we have dinner, and by the time we have dinner, it's like 7 o'clock here, which is 6 o'clock there. And I'm like, just gonna take a 20-minute power nap. Next thing you know, it's like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, oh damn, darn it.
Yeah.
The dog's crying. She's like, Dad, we gotta do something. This is boring. Just biting on my foot.
Yeah.
Go get up. Shawn's got to pee. Good night, everybody.
All right, guys. Hope you guys like this video. Please like, subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell for notifications of when I put out more videos. Just about anything. 3D printing, cameras, drones, live streaming, all the good stuff. So hope you have a wonderful night, and peace out.